Hi, welcome to Triple R Ministries. Today we will be going through Exodus chapters 11 through 15. This is video number 3 out of 8. We're covering the topics of the death of the firstborn announced, the Passover instituted, the 10th plague, which is the death of the firstborn, the Exodus, the Passover regulations, the firstborn consecrated, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the law of the firstborn, the wilderness way, the Red Sea crossing, Song of Moses, the Song of Miriam, and bitter waters made sweet. Chapter 11, the death of the firstborn announced. God tells Moses, we got one more plague to go, and then Pharaoh's going to let you guys go. And when he lets you guys go, I want you to go to all the Egyptian neighbors and borrow silver and gold and stuff from them. And God tells Moses to tell Pharaoh that at midnight, the Lord is going to strike the firstborn child of all of the Egyptians dead, and the firstborn of all the Egyptian animals dead. Pharaoh didn't listen, he didn't let the people go. Alright, chapter 12, the Passover instituted. So God goes and gives Moses all the rules and regulations for the Passovers to give to the Israelites, if you will. God tells Moses this is going to be the first day of your year, or the first day of the month and year. So on the 10th of the month, the Israelites are to take a perfect lamb less than 2 years old. They're gonna kill it on the 14th on the 14th of the month when the sun is going down. Take blood from the perfect lamb and put it on the doorpost on both sides and over the top. They're gonna roast it in fire in one piece with all the guts and everything attached, no bones broken and stuff like that. Alright, they're to eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They're supposed to eat it with their belt on, their shoes on, and their staff in their hand, and to eat it fast because it's the Lord's Passover, and they are to burn whatever isn't eaten. And so God informs Moses that he's going through to kill the Egyptians, the firstborn of all the Egyptians and all the animals, as a judgment against all of the gods of Egypt. Now, when the Lord sees the blood on the doorposts of the Israelites, which are the children of Israel, the Lord will pass over them. Thus the name, the Passover. Now, they are to keep this feast. The Israelites are to keep this feast as an everlasting ordinance. And then after the Passover, they are to eat unleavened bread for 7 days. So all they eat for 7 days is unleavened bread. It's called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And that'll go from the 14th to the 21st. Any person that is to eat bread that does have leaven in it, they are to be cut off from the children of Israel. And leaven, so unleavened bread is pretty much like a saltine cracker, something like that. Leavened bread is like Wonder Bread or something like that. So if a bread has leaven in it, the bread is like fluffy, and leaven is associated with sin. Without leaven is associated with sinless. So going forward here, God tells Moses and the Israelites to put the blood on their doorposts as an everlasting ordinance. And in the future, when the kids are like, "Why are you putting blood on the doorpost? What's that all about?" The Israelites are supposed to explain to them, when God was when the Lord was freeing us from slavery in Egypt, He went through and killed all the firstborn of all the Egyptians in their flocks, but He passed over us. They're supposed to, tell that to the children and that. And so the Israelites worshipped the Lord and listened to Him. 10th plague, death of the firstborn. Just like God said, at midnight, He struck all the firstborn of all the Egyptians dead, from Pharaoh who sits on his throne to the lowest slave of the slaves, to every beast in the field. All the firstborn were dead. But all the homes that had the blood on the doorpost and over the door, the Lord passed over them. So Pharaoh came and told Moses and all his people and all his animals to get out, and bless him also. And And all of the Egyptians urged them to leave, get out, because they were scared that they were fearing for their own lives now. Like, okay, we must be next. These people got to go. Okay? So the Israelites collected silver and gold and clothing from all of their Egyptian neighbors, and about 600,000 men, not including women or children. And they had a lot of flocks and livestock and everything. They all left out, and they journeyed from Ramses to Sukkoth on foot. It's about 20 miles in distance. How far they walked. And so the children the children of Israel, the Israelites, they lived in Egypt for exactly 430 years. Okay, to the day. All right. Now all the Passover regulations. No foreigners to eat it. Slaves that are circumcised can eat it. A stranger must be circumcised before he can eat it. Basically, no uncircumcised person can eat the Passover. All right, going forward. Exodus chapter 13, the firstborn consecrated. All the firstborn of the man and the beast belong to the Lord. Okay. And it goes in and kind of re-explains the Feast of Unleavened Bread again. All right, where you eat only leavened bread from the 14th to the 21st. All right, and it tells God tells them to remember this is the day that the Lord brought you out of Egypt when you're eating it. All right. So all the firstborn is all the firstborn male animals are to be sacrificed to the Lord, unless it's a male donkey. Okay, a male donkey can be redeemed with a male lamb, but if it's not redeemed with the male lamb, you must break the firstborn donkey's neck, because all the firstborn belong to the Lord. And all the firstborn male children also belong to the Lord. They aren't to be sacrificed or anything like that, but you are to sacrifice a male lamb without blemish in place of the firstborn male child. Okay. So and when it said again, when the children come and ask why you're sacrificing the lamb and things of this nature, the firstborn animals, he explained that the Lord went through and struck all the firstborn dead with the 10th plague when he was freeing us from Egypt, things of that nature. Okay. Now the wilderness way. So all the Israelites took Joseph's bones. So you remember way back in Genesis, you had Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, that's like great-grandfather, grandfather, and father. Right? Jacob had a son. His son's name was Joseph, and Joseph pretty much became second in command in Egypt, only second to Pharaoh. So way back in the day, Joseph was like Pharaoh in Egypt, and he died there and was buried there. But he made them promise to take his bones away when the Lord takes them out of Egypt. Okay, because the Lord revealed that they'll be put into slavery and all that stuff way back in Genesis. Okay. All right. So they took Joseph's bones with them as agreed when they were making the Exodus. Now, while they were in the wilderness, the Lord led them by a cloud during the day and a pillar of fire by night to show them where to go, because they're just wandering. They don't know where they're going, why they're going. They're just following the cloud. All right. Now, the Lord could have led the Israelites through the land of the Philistines, but the Philistines were some gangsters, and they didn't. The Lord knew that the Israelites would have freaked out once they seen war and stuff with the Philistines, and they might have ran back to Egypt. So the Lord led them through a different path along the path of the Red Sea. Okay. Chapter 14. The Lord tells them to camp there by the sea. Okay. Now, back in Egypt, the Egyptians are like, oh my goodness, why did we let these people go? We can't do all this work, etc., etc. They regret letting the people go. Okay, so Pharaoh chased the Israelites with about 60 choice chariots with captains over the chariots. All right, they caught up with them, the Egyptians, Pharaoh and the Egyptians, caught up with the Israelites near the place where the Lord told them, where the Lord told the Israelites to camp. The Israelites cried to the Lord, "Oh, because we didn't have no graves in Egypt, they took us out to the wilderness to bury us," type of thing. And Moses like, chill out, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. All right. So God goes to Moses, or Moses goes to God, like, "What's going on, God?" And God like, "Man, stop crying to me and lift your hand up, lift up your rod to the sea so you can divide it." All right. And God told Moses that the Israelites will cross on dry ground and the Egyptians will be drowned when they follow. All right. So now at this point in time, the Egyptians already caught up with the Israelites. So here's the Egyptians, here's the Israelites, here's the Red Sea, right? Now, what's stopping the Egyptians from attacking the Israelites? God actually came and was a cloud to the Egyptians at night, right? And he was like light to the Israelites. So he kept them separate all throughout the night, so they couldn't cross. One couldn't cross, like nobody could cross either way. Okay? So, while it was still night outside, the Israelites crossed through the Red Sea on dry ground, and the waters was like a wall on their left and right side. The Israelites crossed through the Red Sea. Now, the Egyptians followed them, and just before morning, the Lord took the wheels and stuff off of all of the Egyptians' chariots so that they drug them heavy while they were chasing them, so they couldn't go that fast to catch up with them, right? Now, the Israelites crossed, okay? Now the Lord told Moses to stretch his hand over the sea again, and when morning time appeared, while the Egyptians were still trying to cross and catch the Israelites, the waters returned to their full depth. The walls came down and it drowned all of the Egyptians. And Israel, the children of Israel, the Israelites, they saw all the Egyptians dead on the seashore, and they feared the Lord, and they believed God, and they believed Moses. All right. Chapter 15, the Song of Moses. So pretty much, long story short, Moses sang a song recapping all of the events that had just happened. All right. And the Song of Miriam. There was a prophetess named Miriam, and she got all the women together, and they had tambourines and jumped around singing and dancing, singing praises to the Lord, glorifying God. All right. Now, bitter waters made sweet. Now, the Israelites are out here now for 3 days, and they didn't have any water, and they finally come to some water, but it wasn't drinkable. So they started crying to Moses again. So the Lord showed Moses a tree, and Moses cast the tree into the water, and the waters was made sweet. Now, the Lord made a statute with Israel. The Lord's like, look, Israel, children of Israel, Israelites, whatever you want to call them, pretty much that if they would listen to him, that he won't do all the plagues and stuff that he just did to the Egyptians, because obviously the Israelites seen all of the plagues and stuff. They were like there, so they were kind of scared, like, oh man, we made God mad. Are you gonna do this to us too, type of thing? So God made a statute with them that he wouldn't, if they listened to him. Okay, and the Lord identified himself as the Lord who heals them. Okay, now the Israelites continued their journey, and they came to a place called Elim. And there were 12 wells of water there and 70 palm trees, and that's where they dwelt for a little while. They made camp there. That concludes Exodus part 3 of 8. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next videos. We're gonna be leading up to the stuff that happens with where God gives Moses the 10 Commandments and Israel's defiance and stuff like this. So look forward to seeing you guys next video. God bless. Take care. Peace.